TLO, what's
You can't sleep.
We are on Twitch. We are not live, but you can leave a like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notification bells. Let's continue to grow the family from Chicago to the UK, man. Right behind me, you see it, little warning screen. We will need it. This is a warning screen type energy. Twitch.com is where you can catch a live stream. Usernames right next to me. Patreon, Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week. Lock in. Links in the description. This is Lad Bible Stories. This is 6 days ago. I'm late. Oh, man. I found child... I'm just going to... I ain't even going to read it. Y'all see the title.
Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. No copyright infringement intended. All rights belong to their respective owners.
My bad. This is the title of the original video. I hope y'all can see that clearly. Talk to me.
My mother moved to Devon when I was in my late teens, and so I finished schooling there. Met my son's father, and we were together for 17 years. But
I feel like, ask me, this is the one thing that I've noticed above all. You know, America is known for just a lot of things, especially like incest, especially like the deep south and things of that nature. But I feel like the UK there's a high amount of files of pedos. Now there's a lot in America too, and they all are equally weirdos. But I will say, like, I feel like I started knowing all about them when I started covering UK content. Like, it wasn't that big of a thing. Maybe it was. I just wasn't paying attention. You know what I'm saying? Or I didn't know the terminology because I was outside. I was in the streets. I don't know. But, like, this is wild.
we went our own sort of separate ways. We just grew apart, really.
Start over.
But we went farther and met my son's father, and we were together for 17
Y'all got
years.
Kids.
But we went our own sort of separate ways. We just grew apart, really, and separated.
And how did you meet Pete?
So I met him through Plenty of Fish.
Poof is the number one. If out of any dating experience, Poof is where all the weirdos are. 100%, male or female. It's a lot of weirdos there.
Anyway, he seemed great because he was really into wildlife and sports and, you know, outdoorsy kind of stuff. And I just thought he sounds lovely. And we met up in a local sort of beauty spot where there's a really nice cafe, and just did a 20-minute coffee on the first meet. He was a really nice guy, intelligent, and just a gentle giant. You know, he was a big chap, but he seemed really gentle, really soft with it. Opened doors, you know, the conversation.
It was all a mask. It was all a mask. This is when you see people that look too perfect to be too true or act like astonishingly nice, they got stuff to cover up. They got demons they hiding. This is just the Chicago in me. Like, if I be noticing stuff like that, bro, you too nice. What you got going on behind closed doors? Like, I be noticing stuff like that. How you ain't got no flaws? That's cap.
It was very nice. It was never anything nasty. There just didn't seem anything nasty about him. He was just always very thoughtful.
What was the thumbnail of this?
Very laid back, respectful, and just, you know, came across as being a really gentle person.
How did you feel?
The thumbnail is "My ex is a file of pedo."
Coming away from that first meeting?
Kind of excited. I was like, yeah, he's seems like a really great bloke.
And this is why you got to make sure if you have a kids with a woman, right? I'm gonna say it as a man. If you have kids with a woman and she goes, yeah, it doesn't work out, and she gets a boyfriend, you got to stay dangerous. You got to come around. You got to you got to make yourself not friendly to that man. Like y'all be like y'all could be like amicable, whatever the word is, because of the kid. But I don't want to make it look like I want to make it look like I'm a problem. Like if something go left, you gonna have to deal with me. I want to look like a threat to other men. Period. Around my kids, at least. Like I gotta look like a threat. Because you think twice. You won't play like that.
You know, his family he talked about them. They seemed lovely. They seemed into the same kind of things as my family and horses and all kinds. And yeah, I felt quite excited.
How did the relationship progress from there?
She looked like
we sort of met maybe twice a week at first, and it would be
what do you call it?
It would be sort of we'd go for a meal or a walk. We walked quite a lot, so we'd go for a walk or a meal or something. So it started slowly, and he was really respectful, and I thought that's really nice that he's so respectful, doesn't sort of try and rush things or make a move, or I just thought that was great. We discussed.
To me, check your hard drive. Check his hard drives. That's what that screams to me. You ain't trying to make no move. Check a hard drive. What's got you content? You know what I mean? Check search histories.
Sort of, maybe we should move in together. It was just, a few sort of random conversations at first, and then he lived on a farm. Well, not a farm, but he lived on a place where they had horses, and he used to look after the horses in exchange for the accommodation. So it kind of made sense for me to move in with him.
That sounds ridiculous. Ain't that the start of like scary movies? Or movies with abductions or something like that? I'm not saying nothing about her story, but like it'd be little stuff like you gotta listen to the universe. You paying for your accommodations are free because you taking care of horses? So you living for free?
Him. So we sort of discussed that, and
you super nice.
I'd been to work with him a lot and seen where he worked. I'd met his friends, I'd met his family. Everything just seemed so lovely, and just like it felt natural.
And at that point, I suppose, what was the relationship like between him and your son?
They didn't really have a relationship. I mean, my relationship with my son has always been incredibly close, and so that continued. My son doesn't need a father. He's got a father.
No bat. Okay, salute to that. Salute to that. I like that energy. I like that energy. My son don't need a father. He got one. Even though I ain't with that man, he got one. And he's in his life wholeheartedly.
A really good father. It didn't really matter, and my relationship with Pete was, to me, a separate thing anyway.
And then tell me a little bit about the day that your life changed forever, Rosie.
So by this point, we'd moved house and we had our own place, and we'd left the property where we were minding the horses. And we had a home office where we'd keep sort of, computer and desk. And
here we go, y'all.
It was a shared office that everybody had access to. It was mainly me and Pete. Well, it was me and Pete that used it. And I had a card arrive that morning. I wanted to activate the card. We had a card reader in the office. So I just went in to grab the card reader, opened the drawer where it normally was. It wasn't in there. So I looked in the other drawers. It wasn't in there. So I thought, what's he done with that? Thinking, it's probably under a piece of paperwork or in the filing tray or something. He's thrown it somewhere. Great. So I started looking through. I couldn't find it. And the more I couldn't find it, the more annoyed I got. So I started looking. There were a couple of boxes. So I lifted the lid of the first one, lifted the lid of the second one, and there it was, in with a whole load of electrical cables and stuff. Grabbed it, walked off. When I got to where I was going, looked in the back, and there was something in there, and I thought, well, that's a bit odd. So I pulled it out, and it was an SD card, I think you call them, the tiny little cards that go into whatever.
Called them.
So I thought, it's a bit strange. So I put it into the iPad.
I'm not gonna cap, ma'am. I'm glad you did not mind your business in this situation. You think you finally seen some stuff that was out of order. You was, hold on now. A little SD card. This is not supposed to be here. Okay. Let me check what this is.
The Apple iPad, and this box popped up, bottom left, and there was a small child there. So I ripped it out of the computer and sat there and just thought, of course it's not. That's just absolutely mental. That's just ridiculous. So I put it back in, and this time a box popped up with a load of titles. And all of the titles, every single one was something, pretty horrendous. And I just thought, oh my God, this is actually what I thought it was.
Yeah. He was using you for cover. You were a part of the game plan. You were a part of the alibi he has conjured up in his head. And I think I must have clicked on the first one. Because you can't. You've got to know, haven't you? You just curiosity and having to know. I clicked on the first one, and another couple of seconds of that, and I was like, God, can't actually believe. Yeah, you just can't believe it. Can't believe what you're seeing. I couldn't even imagine.
You can't see that and ever forget what you've seen.
No, absolutely not.
It never leaves you. I ripped it out after having seen it anywhere between 2 and 5 seconds. Probably wasn't as long as 5 seconds. I don't think you need to see it for that long.
Nah, you ain't got to sit there and dissect it. It is what it is.
Long to realise what it is. I think I went on to autopilot. I just knew I had to do something. I knew I had to phone the police.
Yeah.
So
Now, was it him in there? It does not matter. But was it him in the video, or was he just had stuff like in, you know what I'm saying? Because it was an SD card, which means like it was in a camera, which means it was recorded.
Picked up my phone, walked to the front of the house, and I had to speak to someone first. I had to connect with someone first. I really had
Connect with the 999 operator.
to connect with someone who I loved.
This the one time that I'm calling the police. If I'm calling 999. I might whoop you first. And I don't want you to know what's going on. Just, you know what I'm saying? And then call 999.
Who loved me first. Sounds weird, but I had to. So I phoned. I was studying to be a hypnotherapist at the time. So I phoned my tutor and said, I've just found child pornography in my house, child abuse in my house. And I know I need to phone the police, but I need someone to tell me I'm doing the right thing. And he said, yeah, you are doing the right thing. 100%. I said, okay, thank you. Put the phone down, phoned the police. And they were brilliant. They just stayed on the phone with me. And I said, he's due home any minute. I do not want him in this house. And she said, lock all of your doors. We're sending someone up right now. You got
keys.
And she said, I'll stay on the phone with you. And yeah, she just stayed on the phone and said, you know, what have you found? How did you find it? Blah, blah. And
I can see her reliving it.
And the police turned up. And almost at the same time, Pete turned up.
Pete was, I'm necked. This not on an episode?
And he was knocking on the door saying, Rosie, Rosie. let me in. He must have thought I was in the garden because then he took his phone out and phoned me. And I've still got that voicemail on my phone that I've never listened to. And then the police turned up and they took him sort of just slightly away from the door, and one of the policemen knocked and said, can you let me in, please? So I let him in, and they arrested him right in front of the front porch, and we watched, and the policeman said, he's as cool as a cucumber. And I said, yeah, he...
Some of them be like that. They know exactly what they did, and they've been plotting on this day, when it was going to come.
He always is. I said, he's really laid back. And he said, well, not many people are laid back when they're being arrested for something like this.
How was that experience watching the arrest for you, Rosie?
It's confusing. It's so mixed because there's this person that you have been in love with, and although that is almost destroyed immediately, when you find something like this, that love is, it's like it's made of ice and someone's taken a hammer to it. It shatters, and it ends. It just ends, and you know that, but still there are all these emotions and feelings and things that you're fighting. When we watched him being arrested, it was like watching television. I think I was a bit just numb. You have no processing time at all for anything that's happening.
Okay, like that's and this is a bit different. It's not like you caught a home girl or a homie. Like you really just ran into your lover, somebody that y'all have been intimate with. This is a crazy situation.
It's all racing and racing in your head and everything happening so quickly. He was arrested and gone. And then you're on to the next thing. They want to come in and they're searching your house.
And what did they find in the house when they searched?
Good question, Molly.
In his office, there were lots of...
Find in the house when they searched?
In his office, there were lots of memory cards. I don't know whether there was anything on them. I don't know.
We can assume, yes. The first one you found, it was.
So whether what they found, because they found a lot of videos and images from category A to C, I think.
I don't know
category
what that
A
means.
is the worst
okay.
Form of indecent image that you can get.
Do you know how many images and videos there were?
They all A for me. I guess you gotta categorize them as the police, so you can put them to do whatever y'all do as officers and people of the law, but it's all top for me.
I think
I better not see a picture, period. If you ain't got no kids, if I see a picture of somebody on your phone that's a child, I got questions for you. I want answers immediately. Who is this? I want to know. If I'm randomly, hey, look at this. Look what Shorty was online, and I accidentally scroll to the left, or the screen orientation flip, and I see something. I got questions. You ain't got no kids. Why? What is this? You going to jail?
it was around 600.
Images and videos there were?
I think it was around 600.
600?
And a lot of them were category A.
Oh my God.
Can you talk me through the conversation that you had with your son?
It's just bizarre because your brain is literally rushing and rushing and rushing. You can't keep up with yourself with all the thoughts coming in and out. And I just thought, I've got to call him down and ask him.
Ask him what? How old? Oh, the son lived with you. The son was young. I thought she had an older son or something. Oh my God. Okay.
See him standing there on the stairs. He was about, I think he was about 15.
Oh, he was 15.
And he came down and sort of
still
leant on the banister and said, you know, what's up? And I said, I've had to phone the police because I found something in the office. And he just sort of looked at me a bit confused, really. And I said, I need to ask you if people...
That's a good sign. Me as a parent, if you're looking confused, you don't really know what's going on.
He's ever touched you.
That's a hard ask.
And I said, has he ever talked to you inappropriately? Has he ever done anything that's...
Yeah, it's a tough conversation. I know, like, all the signs was good. Like, leaning on the banister, didn't really look confused, didn't know what he was talking about. But still, you have to ask. And it's a hard ask.
It's made you feel awkward or worried or... He said, no. He said, no, not at all. I didn't really ever do anything with him. So he was fine about it. You know, he was all teenagery and laid back and cool. But, you know, to have to ask your child that is, you know, and I'm so grateful that I got the answer that I got. I'm so grateful that I wasn't one of the ones...
Right.
You know, who had to...
So it was him in the photos and the videos.
Deal with well, actually, you know, yeah, there have been times. I'm so grateful.
What were those first hours and days like after the arrest?
Numb. Pain. Questions. Just questions. Why didn't I know? What's wrong with me? Why me? And you can't sleep. Can't eat. I couldn't get the image out of my vision.
That's understandable.
I tried to do so many things to distract myself. I tried to put on a really gritty film, you know. You can't focus on anything. The only thing that was in my vision was this very pale little blonde boy. And just however many seconds it was that I saw of that film playing over and over in my vision. You know, and then you've got to address how you feel about yourself.
True. Because he's also, you know, y'all was intimate.
You know, what do you do when you look in the mirror and all you can see is just someone disgusting? Because that's what I saw. I just wanted to scrub myself and bleach myself, and I just felt absolutely
disgusting.
Gross. Because he touched me. I let him touch me. You know, it... How could I have let someone like that touch me? He was attracted to children. You know, it knocks your confidence. It knocks your trust in people. And then you've got the whole thing of, what do you tell people? Do you phone up and say, I can't come to work today because I've just found out that the love of my life is a paedophile? Yeah, of course you
Nah,
don't.
that's crazy.
What do you tell people? How much do you tell people? Or don't you tell people?
Obviously, the aftermath of you discovering those images and essentially you and your son being kind of victims of this crime, what was the support that you were offered after that, and were the police and people around you supportive?
No cap. Your son he was at the age where school is brutal. It can be a brutal place. I'm wondering what they said to him.
Of your experience of seeing those
Did
images,
they
how did
even
the
know?
police help you in that time?
Well, it's funny you should say, you and your son were victims. I don't think of it that way at all. I think that we obviously are hugely affected by what happened at the time.
Right.
I don't consider myself a victim. I consider myself somebody who has been through a very traumatic experience and was lucky enough to have a lot of friends who were able to help her, and I was. So I don't consider myself to be a victim. The children, they're the victims.
Okay, when you put it like that, yeah. You're not the victim in the situation. The kids are. You have it's an inconvenience. It's a huge one. You're going through some stuff, but at the end of the day, whoever was in the images, those are the real victims.
That is exactly how the police see it, and that is exactly how the police phrase it. That evening, after I'd given my statement, they said, "We can put you in touch with victim support. I'm not sure that they'll be able to help you because effectively you're not a victim." So that was it. There was no support. I don't think the police have the resources. They don't even have the resources to
You had to go see somebody and talk to somebody after this. I know it.
process the amount of indecent images that they're picking up. It took quite a while to process. At the time,
Yeah. There's somebody who actually learned this in some true crime ones. Like somebody has to sit and watch the entire videos, all of them, and look at every image. That's insane. That is a job that I would never want. I don't give a damn how much you paid me. I'm not doing that one.
the police said to me that they are arresting, this was in May 2020. At the time, he said we're arresting about 450 people a month for viewing indecent images.
That's
450.
insane.
So the
That's
knock-on
wild.
effect of that, how many mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, work colleagues are just about to find out that their best mate, their brother, their sister, their, mum, dad, whatever, has been arrested for this crime. I had no idea that the case was going to court. I had
Of
a
course.
message come through on Messenger from someone that I didn't even know. I think it was an ex of Pete's. And I had a literally just message pop up on my phone, and it said something along the lines of disgusted to see he only got such and such. And I was...
What time? How much time did he
Pull the
get?
car over. I was shaking, thinking, what's going on? What? Opened it up and read that message from her.
What is such and such?
Googled and saw that, the newspapers, everybody else knew before me that he'd been to court and been sentenced.
And what was Pete's conviction?
Okay.
So
He definitely 100% pled out. He pled out. Like, that's my guess. This is the UK. There's files of Pete in there who get less time than Class B situations. So
he was sentenced to 9 months, suspended.
$9 months. 9 months. And then I heard her about to say suspended. 9 months? Do they even care? I know you gotta understand, like, follow the guidelines of the law, but come on, bro. This is life sentence stuff in America. Brother would have never seen the light of day. 600 images? He took a plea deal.
Did for 2 years, so no
jail time.
He is on the sex offenders register, which is great as long as you keep your own name, because then, you know, wherever you go, people can check to see if you're on the sex offenders register. Claire's Law and Sarah's Law. These are laws brought in.
Claire's Law is named after Claire Wood, who was emmed by an abusive ex-boyfriend in 2009. Sarah's Law is named after Sarah Payne, an 8-year-old who was emmed in 2000.
To protect people, to protect men and women from getting involved with somebody they shouldn't be involved with. You know, those laws are put there, absolutely amazing laws put there to protect people. Totally worthless, because sex offenders could change their names. The law has changed slightly, unfortunately. As with most things, there are some loopholes.
Recent reports from the National Crime Agency suggest that 80% of people in the UK caught with images of children being sexually abused avoid going to prison. How does that statistic make you feel, Rosie?
Sickening.
So after I rebuilt my life a little bit, I realised that there wasn't any support. You know, I looked around for groups, I hunted, I tried to find ways of getting in touch with other people, because I felt I needed that connection.
That is wicked. So bro's out free right now, walking the earth freely.
Nothing. Couldn't find a group, couldn't find anything, anywhere. So I thought, right, I'll set my own up then. So I set up a CIC, community interest company called Survive and Thrive, specifically for anyone who'd been affected by a sex offender. So many of these people talk to no one because they can't. They won't talk to anyone. They won't even go and see a counsellor. They won't talk to their doctor about it because they're scared it'll go onto their records and then their whole town, village might know. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about how it feels to have been in love with a paedophile. You know, I have been called all kinds of things. And people have made their mind up that I must have known.
And that's not fair either. Even though there is some cases where they do know, the others do know and just avoid it, but, you know, people are going to be people at the end of the day. They're going to be ignorant. But this bogus, man.
They wouldn't let anyone find out. They have become master manipulators. They are good at what they do. But, you know, having discovered something like that, you never stop asking yourself questions, ever. You never stop beating yourself up. You know, I do, quite frankly, I don't need to be beaten up by everyone around me. I don't need to be judged and condemned by everyone around me. I've done it myself, thank you.
Yeah.
Why have you decided to tell people your story?
I want to bring it out into the open because this is something that people will not talk about. And until we bring this out into the open and we can talk about it, we can't expect to make any progression with stopping or making a dent.
They need to restructure the sentencing on that crime 100%, because that's ridiculous. 9 months, instead of getting time, you get 2-year probation and placed on a list where you can change your name and it not even have any effect. Like, come on, bro. Like, really?
In the amount of, you know, child abuse material that's out there. You know, the point of this, you know, the whole point of this story is not...
How you even have the audacity to go to Google and type that stuff in? Like that's wild. Don't nobody else... No, I know y'all think that's wild, bro. That's too much.
Me, at all. It's not even Pete. It's not the point. The point is the children. We have a duty to protect them. And that's why I talk.
And that's why when I be at the park and I see somebody there, a grown-up, that don't got a child and they just there chilling, I tell them, I go up to them. I'm one of them. Ha ha. Which one's yours? Oh, well, get out! What are you doing here? I don't care. You could be missing a chromosome. I do not care. Get out. You're a grown man. Go bag a grocery or something. What are you doing here?